I'm really pleased to have with me today David Pino, who's a police officer for the city of Monte Vista.
Yes,
Dave's a good friend of mine. I know his wife. His wife took care of me when I was in the medical care center, and over the last 6-8 months we've gotten to know each other better and better.
Right.
Dave comes with a large background in criminology. He's spent a lot of years or a lot of time in the academy and then going to college as a result of his studies to become a police officer. And I really wanted to thank you before we get started for actually coming over here and taking a couple of minutes out of your day to come by here.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
Great. Is there anything I can get for you? Or?
No, I think we're good. I think I'm good.
Okay, great. Well, we'll get started here. I have just basically a couple of real simple questions that are things that I'm interested in. So maybe you might be able to help me and some other people in the area.
Sure.
And I guess I might as well start with the first being, what is the type of major crime that you see the most in this area, in the San Luis Valley?
Most of the major crimes in the San Luis Valley will be crimes against property and persons, such as we have a lot of burglaries here, a lot of thefts, and what I mean that those are going to be crimes against properties. The crimes against persons, we have a lot of, in a small community like the South, we have a lot of what they call domestic violences here.
Yeah.
Guy comes home late, wife gets mad, guy beats up on the wife, he goes to jail.
Terrible.
And we have a lot of those happen here. Unfortunately, there's not much to do here in the smaller towns, such as Del Norte, Monte Vista, South Fork, and Alamos areas. So those kind of crimes are really common here in Monte Vista in the San Luis Valley.
So now you say that there's a lot of burglaries.
Yes.
Whereas, I'm living in this small little studio up here in Del Norte,
Right.
and people tell me they haven't locked their door in 20 years.
Right. And
Is that's a misnomer, or?
That really is. I mean, you don't lock your doors to your vehicle, to your house, to your windows. You're asking to be a victim to something.
Is that right?
Yep.
So really the bottom line is you should lock it up.
Lock it up. It's just basic procedure. I mean, you don't want to be a victim, and not doing that, you're asking to be a victim one of these days. It's going to happen.
Oh, well, good to know. So now, is there anything that we as citizens can do to help you guys in, fighting the crime rate?
Yeah, definitely. There's what we call community policing. It's really a relationship that the police department should have with its community. If I as an officer doesn't have a relationship with my community, I can never rely on them to help me report crimes, to keep the crime rate down, even if it's the slightest thing. The things that you should do as a citizen is always report it. If you see anything suspicious, report it, and we'll check it out. We'll go to any call.
Right, so just stay in touch with the police and
Definitely.
let them know of anything that you see that's out of the ordinary, and don't feel bad about going to the police.
No, definitely. That's what we're here for. We're civil servants. That's what we're sworn to do.
Right.
So.
Well, I mean, the police department's only 4 blocks away from here, so
and
I could walk down there.
Definitely.
So yeah, okay, well, good. So now let's talk a little bit about what it became for you to become a police officer, all the education, physical training. Now, I understand you went through a ton of work to do it, so maybe you kind of walk us through the process of what you had to do.
Well, I grew up in a home. My father was a sheriff's deputy here in the county of Rio Grande. He actually retired from Rio Grande as the captain of Rio Grande County. And so I grew up with a law enforcement background growing up, and I always wanted to be in law enforcement. Of course, I graduated high school, After high school, I attended Northeastern Junior College and accumulated my credits there, and came back down to the Valley and attended the Southern Colorado Law Enforcement Training Academy.
Okay.
In the Colorado Law Enforcement Training Academy is we go over everything, such as from shooting to driving to building searches to active shooter, everything that you can think that will happen. We went over, we trained for it, and we got good training for it.
So you were working through all the scenarios of
Right.
what could happen.
Every type of situation, we always have to run some scenarios over our head, just so we're prepared.
Yeah, it's just to keep you thinking.
Right. Not only that, but we were trained in the Colorado Revised Statutes. We're required to be very knowledgeable in that. That way we know what appropriate charge to charge if we're...
Right, so you have to know both the law as well as how to make sure you don't get hurt in the process of carrying
Right.
out the law.
Right.
Is your overall process.
Right. After the Southern Colorado Law Enforcement Training Academy, I actually was able to graduate from Trinidad State Junior College in Alamosa with my associate's degree also.
Oh, great.
Shortly after that, I was employed with the Monte Vista Police Department, and I've been working there since. I've been working there approximately 8 months now.
Yeah, and you also did a lot of self-defense work.
Right.
What kind of stuff did you train for that?
In the academy, we were trained with PPCT, which is pressure point control tactics.
Like shiatsu or something?
You know, I'm not really familiar with shiatsu, but it's basically the nerves and whatnot to strike, to create separation,
Okay.
and to get your opponent to submit to you.
With the least amount of effort.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, with the Monte Vista Police Department, they trained us in Krav Maga, which is a lot more intense, a lot more physical. And Krav Maga originated from Israel. That was their defense tactics, I think, in World War II, I think.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
So, I personally enjoy Krav Maga. You get to do a lot more things with it without getting in trouble. And what I mean by in trouble, a lot of times when we have to use force, we end up getting sued civilly.
Okay.
So when we get sued civilly, Krav Maga instructors will come down and testify on our behalf, saying that we were following the Krav Maga guidelines.
Okay, and it really was, originally intended to be a self-defense mechanism
Right.
in Israel, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay, great. That's interesting. So how often do you actually work at that? Do you work at it every week? Or?
We, as a department, we have to recertify every year. Every year we go into the high school lenses, their gym. We go over the tactics there. After that, then we're certified for a whole year. Every year we have to get recertified. During that time, of course, if you don't use it, you lose it. So, tell you the truth, at 4 in the morning, there's not much to do, so we get to play around with each other and whatnot.
Okay, gotcha.
So we keep each other really sharp.
Yeah.
And
focused on
how to do that.
Oh, that's great, because that's really your baseline between getting hurt and protecting yourself.
Right, definitely.
And carrying out the law.
Right. And the thing is, as an officer, you have to have the mentality that no matter what, after your shift, you're going home. After your shift, you will always go home.
Right. Well, that's amazing. So now, do you see a lot of major crimes where violence is an issue in the process of the law?
Excuse me. No problem.
Okay, there we go.
In the Valley, alcoholism is an issue.
Okay.
The drugs in this valley is an issue. You mix those, you mix family emotions, and it's almost a guarantee there's going to be a fight. So, basically, every time we're called to a domestic dispute or a disturbance in progress, we're looking to get in a fight.
Yeah. So now, do you obviously you try and use physical force instead of using weapons and whatnot when possible. But
right. We're trained to use verbal judo. We try to talk people down to defuse the situation. Usually, 90% of the time, I can defuse the situation by just talking to them. If that doesn't work, our department, we're trained in less than lethal weapons. Sorry, Bob.
Okay.
And those include anywhere from tasers to shotgun beanbags and rubber bullets.
Right.
So we'll use those if need be. Also with pepper spray, we'll use those if we need to use them. And you know, if we need to go hands-on, we'll go hands-on.
So that's pretty serious stuff you're involved with.
Yeah. That's right.
I'll be darned. Well, better you than I, so. So now, what kind of security system should we put in? I got a door lock over here I just put in, and it just wants to make all sorts of noise. What kind of security systems do you recommend for this area?
You know, Bob, I wouldn't really recommend a certain brand or name type, but as long as you have something that will let somebody know that, hey, this house is being broke into, send an officer. As long as you have some type of security system that will alert our dispatch center, and our dispatch center will let us know. So definitely get a security system. Get motion lights outside.
Right.
Get some people even go as far as getting dogs. Some people can't have dogs. But you know, that's your personal preference and whatnot. But definitely, it's worth getting a security system in your home.
Well, great. I'll probably work with you a lot on that here in the near future.
Sure.
As I try and finish this little house up. So I guess we'll close up here a little bit. So out of all of these methods of protecting your citizens, how would you summarize the best means to provide a safe and secure environment for all of us?
You know, just being proactive. Sometimes it's hard for us to be proactive, which means we go out and look for the bad guys and not have to be reactive, which means we're called to the bad guys.
So you're always fighting the crime instead of going to it.
Right. We always want to be proactive. We always want to be out there looking to see if we can get this guy out of there before we have to be called to ask to have them get out. So basically, to be proactive is really good. Sometimes it's hard in small communities because we're short-manned. Sometimes in Dallas North, there's only one officer on it for the whole city, and that's the case for the city of Monte Vista sometimes. I might be the only officer on for a certain amount of time.
Right.
But sometimes there's maybe 4 officers on, and that's the time to be proactive.
And go out and look for the guys that are about to go do something.
Right.
Okay, well good. So anything we see that looks like it may be a problem is best to turn into you guys.
Absolutely. I mean, like I stated earlier, you know, even if it turns out to be, you know, a cat or whatever.
Right.
Report it. Let us go check it out. I mean, you'd be surprised how many times somebody says, "Oh, I saw something, but I never wanted to report it," and it turned out to be vehicles being broken into, houses being broken into, or whatnot.
Yeah.
So definitely report it. We'll go check it out.
Well, great. Well, David, thank you so much for coming here and being one of my first interviewees with
No problem.
this new video camera stuff we're learning how to use here in college. So with that, I'll close, and thanks again.
Yeah, no problem.